Peace and blessings, you all. It's Akila McQueen, aka Empress Awakening, and I am here with.
Peace, y'all. This is Supreme I. You already know.
Today, we are going to be discussing sacred sexuality. I know some of you are out there thinking, okay, sacred sexuality, what exactly does that mean? And the importance of the two words, sacred sexuality, gives us some insight on what's going on in the creation and what's going on in the acts that we are doing when we have sex with people. So let's give a breakdown of what sacred sexuality means on an etymological level.
Okay. So, you got two words, sacred and sex. Sacred sexuality. Sacred actually comes from the word sacir, which means holy, or also can mean offering, which is where we get the word sacrifice, to sacrifice something. So sex is essentially a sacrifice and an offering. And actually, you want to take it higher. Sex is actually one of the most powerful forms of prayer on the planet. Sex is, believe it or not, because sex happens on every single dimensional level. I would say up until the pure light of the Creator's absoluteness, just the oneness. All else is a phenomena and manifestation of electromagnetic energy playing with each other, interplaying with each other, interacting with each other. That creates everything that we see in the visible world and phenomena in the invisible spiritual realms as well. Sex also comes from the word six. You see, six. Sorry. Sex also, etymologically, H is always tied to the letter S. Um, you guys can look into some of Alvin Boyd Kuhn's work if you want to look into that esoteric alphabet. And it basically talks about how the H is the S, but condensed. So if I say, if I condense that H, it goes right into an S. So I say all that to say that sex is actually the word hex. And when you say hex, you're speaking about spelling or magic. Haha. So sex is a form of magic because magic is a form of creation. Anytime you attach some energy to a thought, anytime you think about something, visualize something, you created it. So sex happens in your mental realm. Sex happens right here at your throat chakra with food, and sex happens also, at the tree of life down here in your reproductive organs. So sex happens on every single level. But first, we always have to take this back to the body, to the human body, because we're speaking about spirituality, of course.
Right. And that's because when we have sex, we are essentially opening up our portals to the outer universe. It helps us to elevate consciously. In the Spirit of Intimacy book, she talks about the Dagara people. And in their culture, they look at intimacy as a very spiritual act. And when they don't even have a word for sex in their village, what they refer to, what we refer sex as, they refer to going through a journey with that soul, that they're traveling to a place with that soul. Now, when you just have lower vibrational sex, you may not be experiencing exactly what they're talking about. But if you consciously have sex, you will journey into the outer cosmos. You can awaken what is called your Kundalini, which sits at your root chakra. Now, on the physical plane, your root chakra is like the roots of a tree. It is the foundation. It's for. It is what holds the Kundalini energy. And as that Kundalini energy rises up through the top of your crown chakra, that is what opens you up to the outer universe. And so different sex positions and different meditations and different breathing techniques can help you and your partner to elevate that, to activate your Kundalini energy in order for you to have a sacred spiritual experience while you're having sex. Now, sex is broken down into regenerative sex and reproductive sex. So, on a physical level, reproductive sex is having a baby. But you can also have spiritual babies. So, and that's when you would have regenerative sex. Now, somebody probably like, what in the world is regenerative sex? This is the act of sex when your male partner holds his semen rather than ejaculating in you. He ejaculates within himself. The sperm holds vital energy, vital energy. Is on a physical level, it's a nutrient dense, and on a spiritual level, it is electrifying. So instead of him ejaculating, which would deplete his own energy, he ejaculates and gives himself that energy, which empowers him physically and empowers him spiritually. And this way, he can also go longer while having sex with you in order for you as the woman to go through your 9 stages of orgasm, which will help you to activate your Kundalini and allow your crown chakra to open up and allow the cosmo energies to fall into you and fill you up with its love. So that's what regenerative sex is. Now, I know some of you are probably out there like, what? Is that really possible that you can ejaculate? Yes. In India, they have something called Tantra. Tantra is Sanskrit. And that deals with learning how to do these positions and different meditations and breathing techniques in order for you to accomplish Kundalini activation. You also can look into the Tao, which they're cultivating sexual energy as well. And in the Tao, they have the men who practice ejaculation and gaining their vital energy by having sex with women, as well as you have the women who are the Tao, which are called white tigress, who take on male's energy. So say if they have oral sex, by her ingesting sperm, she's ingesting vital nutrients as well as a spiritually activated fluid. And so also when she has sex with men, she is revitalizing herself. It helps her to be youthful. It helps her to be energized and strong. Would you like to add to that?
Yeah, I was kind of going to talk about the same stuff. Okay. So 2 things. Sex is here to reproduce. It serves 2 functions. It's 1 to reproduce, and 2 to basically act as a tool for self-transformation. Okay? So to me, everybody ideology is different. It's as much ideas in the world as it is people. So it's like 7 billion whatever ideas. To me, sex should be used very sparingly, and because it's only 2 reasons to actually have sex, if you fall outside of that, you have sinned. Which brings us back to the etymology of the word sin, which means a lack of, or to fall short, or to miss the mark. So if you're not using sex to reproduce, to have a holy child, or to transform yourself, which I'm going to get into, then you have sinned. So lo and behold, the church is right in a sense. They have a half truth. If you're just out here having sex, busting nuts, you are sinning every day because you're falling short. And that it's so many repercussions and consequences that happen on that level. Okay, so let's get into the self-transformation. Like Queen was just building on, because we have different members, different reproductive organs, this is going to be a little bit different for each of us. So if in the woman, it's going to look a little different. The sexual, biochemical, alchemical process that happens in the body is going to be slightly different from the man's. So she was just speaking on the seed or the semen. Basically, this is your liquid light. Your liquid light. I think they compared a drop of semen to about 40 drops of blood. I don't know how true that is, but I'm gonna say that I will ride with that, and I might need to look more into that or whatever. A drop of semen is worth 40 drops of blood. The thing is that sperm carries a halo of light on its head. So we're literally talking about Christ, the Christ oil. You see? Interesting thing about the body is that the sperm is literally the littlest cell in the body, spermatozoa. And the ovum is the biggest cell in the body. And once again, as we're relating this to the universe, because we are the microcosm and the universe is the macrocosm, the sperm is electric and the ovum is magnetic. And so what we need to know about the sperm is that your body literally consecrates this oil from all the food that you take, mental and physical. Predominantly, though, from the air. Quick question. How much electricity is it in each breath? How much prana is in each breath? Your body is literally the first alchemical laboratory. It's the first laboratory because your body is earth. Earth is the God's laboratory. You see? So when you eat food, the nutrients go to all of the organ systems, all the 12 systems of the body. It goes to that. And what it does is it synthesizes and condenses it basically condenses these nutrients and hormones into the sperm. Um, and so the thing about this is that when you are having sex and you produce sperm and you decide to just skeet and not preserve it through the science of ejaculation, you're losing vital life force energy. You're losing so much life force energy that it's not even a game. This sperm is actually almost comparative to brain matter. It's almost comparative to brain matter. The reason why they call it nut is because it's nutritionally dense. It is dense. And so the interesting thing about it is that because this is literally one of the liquid lights of the body, we can get into this later, but some of the other liquid lights of the body are the cerebral spinal fluid, heavily important, blood, heavily important, saliva, which is alkaline, heavily important. Sperm is supercharged with pranic energy, and the science of it for a man is to be able to ejaculate, which means that you are basically retaining your seed, retaining the Christ oil within inside of your prostate. At the point of ejaculation, you would then press a certain spot on your body between your anus, the perineum, between your anus and your genitals, to keep that fluid in the prostate gland. And through specific techniques, so if I was pressing the spot through specific techniques, what I would do is basically visualize a gold and silver light pulling that up from my scrotum area. I would visualize pulling this up while I'm doing the anal locks, which is contracting my sphincter muscle and basically working the root chakra, because the root chakra is not the physical body. It's ethereal. It's on the next level, but it's activated by what you do by the physical. So I would picture that energy going up and I would sip it. I would literally sip that energy from my scrotum area up my spine. And what I'm doing by doing this is a profound state of magic. I'm literally magnetizing my spine with etheric energy based upon cultivating that pranic reservoir of semen and visualizing it hitting my crown chakra. So to get back into what this is without actually the mechanical process behind it, this is so much of an intense and profound process because this is literally self-transformation. When you're having sex with your counterpart, you are literally having the time of your life. You feel the best that you ever do. And because you're cultivating so much different hormones and so much different endogenous chemicals, you are literally bathing your body in the elixir of life, the fountain of youth. When you are having sex, not when you nut, but when you're having sex, you feel charged. And because of this, you are the most sensitive to spiritual energies around you. This is why it's so important to be mindful of who it is that you lay with. You don't want to take on somebody's negative zodiacal aspects, you know? I mean, you're giving and receiving, so everybody's getting some. But I mean, let's face it, you want to stay as clean as possible. So it's important to bring it back home. It's important to understand that retaining your seed and basically understanding that sex is for reproduction if you plan to have a child, or if you plan to help yourself, if you plan raising yourself to the next octave. So what this is basically is oiling and lubricating your machine. Your body is your machine. It's your device. It is literally giving you a cosmic upgrade every time you have sex and ejaculate. You are literally opening awarenesses, vortexes of awareness in your body. In your body. Vortexes of energy and states of awareness along your spine.
Right.
Literally along your spine. You want to add on?
I just wanted to add on that what you said about laying with different people who are not vibrating at the same frequency as you. And I mean, you may be vibrating, at lower frequencies. We all have our um, waves where we're on our lower cycles and on our higher cycles. And essentially, what we want to do is remain constantly elevating. So, I know a lot of people like to say, only women should be cautious of how many people they have sex with, but that is far from the truth. Men as well need to be cautious of who they lay with. Everything that we see on the physical level is happening on a spiritual level. So if we can each have sex with one another, and a man can get gonorrhea and a woman can get gonorrhea, or a man can get chlamydia and a woman can get chlamydia, you're essentially getting whatever spiritual energy that woman has as well onto you. Just like you can enter a place like the penis enters the vagina, you have it in your mental memory and your emotional memory and spiritual energy of what being in that place was like, and it remains with you. Depending on how insignificant or significant it is, it remains with you. And so it's like vaginal memory on your penis, or penis memory on your vagina.
Penis memory.
And this is real. Just as if somebody comes into your life, like a penis comes into the vagina, you remember.
If a penis comes into your life, just know.
That entity coming into your life remains with you, no matter how insignificant or significant it may be. So it's true on both sides. So it's important to know that on both sides, being promiscuous unconsciously can be detrimental to you physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. As we become more aware, we would make the conscious decision to have sex with a partner who is nutritionally elevating themselves. And that's on the physical plane, making sure that what they put into their mouth, into the digestive system, which essentially makes up our entire body. That's what our body thrives off of, whatever we eat. On that physical level, we want somebody that's eating right, thinking right, because whatever we think is also within our body memory as well. And so if we constantly have negative thoughts, whenever we lay with somebody, we give that person that too. And the person could, have sex with you, and a day or so later be feeling or thinking in a certain way and wondering where in the world did that even come from. And it came from who you may have been laying with. You also want to know what that person is opening themselves up to spiritually. Are they constantly indulging in their lower nature, or are they striving towards their higher self? All of those things you need to take into consideration whenever you decide to have sex with somebody. Because like we've been saying, sex is the merge of two entities, the masculine and the feminine, creating something. Every time we have sex, we create something. And so we want to be sure that we're creating something holy and not something detrimental. And something detrimental will come if we are unconsciously having sex, And if we are having sex with people who are vibrating at a lower frequency than we are.
I want to build on what Queen just said, and she said sex is essentially merging. You know, this is where we get our word marriage from. Etymologically, merge is the same thing as marriage. And I also wanted to talk a little bit more about that creation process that happens when you lay down with somebody. When you're having sex, it is, like I said, one of the most profound states of prayer that we can basically embark on. I mean, it's so profound that ascended beings that are merged with pure light can feel your energy if you're pure enough while you're doing it. This is so profound that when you do it, there needs to be a ritual made out of it. Whether you're doing it for reproduction or self-transformation, self-regeneration, and you're trying to build a better version of yourself. When you do it, here's a small example. Let's make a health and wellness center. What I would then do is tell Key, okay, we're about to have this holy matrimony right quick. We're about to have this ritual right quick. We're about to have some sex. I would tell her, and she would tell me, let's both focus on our health and wellness center. Before we start the foreplay, not even just the sex, before we start the foreplay, let's make sure we sage ourselves. Let's make sure we sage our room. Let's make sure this is what we'll do. Like, let's make sure that we lay out our crystal grid, our crystal vortex properly, sage, and then pray. Like, literally pray. We'll pray, yes. And then while we're doing the foreplay, keeping that image magnetized and spiritualized on our mind's eye, just thinking about that as we're doing it. And so I'm going to fast forward a little bit. At the point of orgasm, because this is the point of ejaculation, which we can cover in another video because we're just really talking about what sacred sexuality is. At the point of orgasm, after I've taken her through her multiple levels, which she can reach 9, and probably, I'm not even going to be absolute, she could probably reach more than that. 9 is something we heard. We don't know until we do. But after she reaches certain levels and I reach certain levels and we are synchronized and resonate with each other, there will be a period of time where we both can arrive mentally, we can come together. At that point, that's when we literally need to focus the most on what creation it is we're trying to manifest to the world. What it is we're trying to manifest to the world. So literally, as soon as we both blast off, we will both think of this image. And when we orgasm, we are literally going to picture that happening. We're going to picture it occurring, and we're going to picture it as if it's already a reality, already happening. It's already here at the point of orgasm. We're both going to see that as a complete deed. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. And also I wanted to touch on how in our Bible, it's talking about sex. This is essentially what the knowledge of the tree of knowledge of good and evil is. And I'm going to make this really short and clear. The reason why I connect those two is because if you read the Bible, when it says Isaac knew Sarah, or Abraham knew Sarah, or Isaac knew Rebecca, it means he laid with her. It means he had sex with her. If I say I knew her, that's on a whole different level. See, we don't even talk like that anymore. Nobody talks like that. But if I say I know you biblically, that means I hit that. Pretty much. That means I hit that. If I say I knew you.
Let's hope you're not hitting the holy temple.
Yeah, don't hit the holy. Thou shalt not hit the holy temple. Don't hit the holy temple. Pay tithes to your own temple. Pay tithes. And just to go back into what I was talking about, the tree of knowledge of good and evil is sex. Once Adam and Eve metaphorically had sex, they knew good and evil because they felt that one reality or transient reality that we all feel on our day-to-day life. and it happens with every choice. And it could be anything. I'm not even speaking about anything specific. It's when a choice comes up. It's I can either elevate myself or I can debase myself. So you in the line at KFC and you get your food and somebody accidentally knock your biscuit out your hand and shit, and you just want to slap. You just want to slap them. Or you can be like, my bad, man. You bumping into me. You dropped my little 2-piece biscuit. It's all good. You know, you can elevate or debase yourself. And I'm just using that example, but this happens moment to moment, um, in every situation. Another way that I'm linking the tree of knowledge of good and evil to your reproductive organs is that in various cultures, the tree of life is always that bridge that connects the microcosm to the macrocosm. And I believe that the spinal system, along with the whole nervous system, is that tree. And when I say it connects the microcosm to the macrocosm, I believe that your crown, your mind, and your heart can keep you in contact with everything in creation. Mm-hmm. Because if we're all one, we all have a means by which to contact each other. You see? And if you just look at the nervous system, it looks like a tree. It looks like tree roots. Mm-hmm. In fact, this is what the whole science of yoga is. Just doing the different postures and the breathing. It is literally to extend the functional range of your nervous system, to extend the functional range of your tree, so that you can connect with others. Yeah. So in Norse mythology, the tree of life is called Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil, spelled Yggdrasil. If you look at the first 3 letters, YGG, that's egg. Etymologically, that's egg. Okay? The Y is an E. Let's just say that's egg. And we know that the woman has eggs because she comes here ready to birth nations. We come here with all the knowledge we need ever. All the knowledge we need ever. And we just have to activate it through living a righteous lifestyle. And falling out of that righteous lifestyle, we see a lot of people misappropriate and misuse sex, which is one of our most potent tools that we have on the planet to sensitize ourselves to the spiritual energy. Now, we were also talking about semen and also vaginal secretions, the seminal fluids in a woman, the cerebral spinal fluid, the blood. All these things contribute. The menstruation blood. And the menstruation blood. All of these things are highly potent. And the important thing to know is that all of the food that we eat is encoded with light codes from distant stars. So your food literally has activated DNA that was activated and turned on by our sun and many of suns. This food has light in it in the form of photons. So the food on the etheric level, well, not even etheric level, but almost subatomic level, has photonic energy. This photonic energy gets transduced and synthesized and condensed into your sperm. So you're literally sending the latest software to your brain when you choose to sublimate your seed and not throw it out and waste it and waste your energy. That's an energy leak right there. If you're a spiritual aspirant, it behooves me to say, don't leak your energy. Retain your energy. Pay tithes. Give 10%. Give more than 10% of your energy back to your higher self. Right. You know? And when you give to yourself and make offerings, holy offerings, you put yourself in a position where you can become the disciple of your own higher mind.
Mm-hmm. And just to add on, because King talked about some of the things that men can do to help themselves ejaculate, and some things that the woman can do to help herself get to the levels of the 9 levels of orgasm is 1, supporting your king, and
support me like my bones.
Support your king in his journey through ejaculation, as well as his discipline in not having sex all the time. Doing some yoni breathing, yoni meaning your sacred temple, your badge, your womb, your seat, your throne. Doing some yoni breathing, some Kegel exercises, some yoga positions. You can look up some yoga positions that are focused on vaginal strength. You can drink raspberry leaf tea, dandelion tea, nettle, different herbs that help strengthen your womb. And all of these things allow you to have a more potent and spiritually charged vaginal secretion, helps you to be more alkaline, as well as it helps you from being dry when you're having sex, because you want those fluids to be flowing through you, flowing out of you, so that your man's penis can be blessed with have its baptism.
So just make sure that you are juicy if a penis comes into your life. If you accept that penis in your life today, I mean, whenever, just make sure that you are good.
A holy penis into your life. So that's some of the things that we just wanted to touch on today about sacred sexuality. Please stay tuned to more videos, because there's so much more that we could talk about in regards to sexuality and your spirituality. Just do some research. Some good books that you can look into are
The Tao of Sexology, the book Sacred Sexuality,
Jewel and the Lotus, The Teachings of the White Tigress.
Is it T.C. Carrier's book? I think it's called. Just look up an author named T.C. Carrier. He has a good book.
The Spirit of Intimacy, and just look up things like Tantra.
The Kama Sutra also is something that is tied directly to this, although it was made shallow and superficial based upon a lot of people just playing it out for just sex. But
right. So we hope that was informative for you, and that you will go out and do some research for yourself. Be peace, be love, be joy. Have a wonderful day.